what I was saying about like, you know, the Dragon Ball Z movie came out and supposedly that got huge numbers in the box office. So I mean, Netflix now has a ton of anime that came out. Recently, they came out with like a Godzilla series, which was really cool.
That? You watched it?
Yeah, I thought it was great and like sort of a nice little homage to like, you know, the original Godzilla canon, and they had some like great monsters.
Like the OG comics, you're saying?
Yeah, or like the old Japanese.
The old movies.
Yeah, the old movies.
Okay.
Right.
And then Castlevania came out, which was also really well done. And
I gotta rewatch
people said it was one of the best like video game adaptations to like a movie.
That's right. I always forget that it was a video game.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so, I mean, animation, and now with the Spider-Verse, I was hoping that it did really good. Although I heard that like US it's sort of lagged, but internationally it's done a lot better, because I really want animation to be more of seen as some sort of like something that should be supported,
commercially
and, like,
accepted
dumped
among all
millions
people.
of dollars in, because I mean, let's be real. I mean, you haven't seen it yet, but you've seen the trailers.
Oh yeah.
And the Spider-Man movie was a piece of artwork, pretty much like frame by frame by frame.
Like
it was gorgeous.
It's very rare, or it's not rare, but it's not too often that you get like movies that like change the game.
Yeah, well, Miyazaki for anime, like, you know, side, you know, and Studio Ghibli did some
there's very
extremely
few that where it
amazing
happens. Like when I saw that, I remember like, because we saw that together, and I remember leaving. I was just like, that was something different, man. Like that wasn't your everyday animated movie. Like it was. But no, like that was art. That was like homage to like the true original stuff. Like I loved every second of it. I like fought back tears for a moment. Like, dude, the full emotional spectrum. Like, loved
everyone listening. Go see that movie, support it, and
I'll
then
watch
Matt,
it
get
for
off,
next time.
get off your ass and see that. Movie.
Yeah,
good.
I on the anime topic, I watch a little too much of it. Being unemployed.
Oh yeah. All right. So, all right. What are your go-tos? Just real quick, so we don't nerd out.
Dragon Ball Z. I've rewatched the entirety of it too many times, and it takes months.
I skipped it. I was doing Kai, so I can get rid of some of the filler.
All the filler.
Yeah, get rid of all the filler.
I love Dragon Ball, like the first. The first installment of it.
Yeah, my buddy's huge on that.
It's great because I mean it started in the 80s in Japan and hit us in the 90s, and just the story progression of that, fucking fantastic. So Dragon Ball Z #1 go to.
But you're currently watching that right now.
No.
What are you currently watching?
Currently watching. I do like Super. Super.
So we can talk. There's like a ton of good animes out there, but what are you currently watching?
So all right. So I've been running out of shit to watch other than movies. I know I should go to the movies. All right. So I watched this new thing. I think it came out last year, but it's on its second season. It's called Mob Psycho 100.
Oh yeah.
Right?
All right, yeah. Mob Psycho is good. Mob Psycho is good.
I haven't seen Mob Psycho 100.
I saw Mob 1 and 2.
God, I love Crunchyroll.
Yeah.
I know. It's great. It's about this. Of course, it's about a high schooler who's got secret powers, who can do sorts of shit.
There's a new show I want to talk about. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
And he's a psychic, and he's able to exorcise ghosts and shit. And the general kind of theme of it is this kid has to repress his feelings to not explode. Mob Psycho 100. His name is Mob. He's a psycho, and 100 means 100%.
I have not seen that actually. Now that you're talking about it, it's just some psycho something. Psychopaths, I think.
Psychopaths. Yeah. I gave that one a try. I need to sit down and because that one seems pretty. Talk about for adults. That one is for adults.
Exactly.
But what I like so much about Mob Psycho 100 is it's funny for one. It helps, but the animation style it's not comparable to what I've seen from Spider-Man Multiverse. Like they'll hop from like kind of lazily drawn sketch, which is a great excuse to like speed up the animation stuff.
You know what that is? I've recently figured out because I follow a lot of artists on Instagram, and there's one, and like I'm a big Dragon Ball Z fan, just like you. And there's one guy that does a lot of Dragon Ball Z art, and it was Unique Artwork, I think. But he is constantly, and I love him for it. He's constantly like putting all these like animators on blast, but he at the same time anytime they crush it, he's like, yo, look at this fucking animation.
Shit.
Like, and he'll post it on his Instagram and he's like, that is fire. My boy, I can't even pronounce the names. Toyazaki is killing it.
Yeah.
And then he'll post the bad ones, and it's just noticeably
very
bad.
glaring.
And you're like, oh, and he's like, the beginning what are they doing? Like, you can't let this happen.
The first season of Dragon Ball Super is plenty of that.
Yeah, exactly.
So all right, so is that the only one you're watching?
No. But just to make sure I don't end that one, if someone's a fan of that and watch that, they go from that kind of lazy style to really complicated shit to like very sketched black and white.
It's just
stuff.
Different artists. Yeah.
It's very so something else I'm watching, and this one is fucking weird. The name of it
is it probably the one with the farts?
No.
Wait, what?
Yes, there's the fart. About a fart.
I think the translation makes the name of the show sound weird, weirder than. But I mean, it is fucking weird anyway.
Or is it the tits and butts knocking the chicks off?
No, it's a lot.
Oh my god, I've seen that video. That's hilarious.
It's a lot more like on the spectrum of anime. You go from like literal kid shit to like
very adult,
very adult. Like, oh, I got body pillows for this one. You get body pillows for the other one.
But who doesn't have body pillows?
So the other one, it's that time I was reincarnated as a slime.
All right, I've seen that. I want to check that out. So all right,
so
just because it seems weird and like I'm not
that's what I love about
weird,
anime in general.
If it's too weird, I'm like, all right, I can't do it.
It's a bit
concepts
weird.
are always out there.
That's what I like about anime is that like the artisticness
no one goes
of it,
that
like
far.
the character design, like
the fact
world design is. Yeah, it's out there.
The fact I could watch one episode of that and not go, okay, I'm not watching that ever again.
Okay.
It says something to me because it was weird enough. I mean, it's not completely weird. There's a lot of weird shit.
But it grabbed you. It caught you. You're like, I got to keep going with this.
Like right in the beginning of the show, not to go into too much detail, it's just really funny. It's a 39-year-old guy who's like, I'm a successful businessman, not too successful, moderately successful, and he runs into a coworker, and in his head he's saying, but I've never had a girlfriend, and I'm like, oh, this is for the weebs. This but I can relate to this. I'm single currently as a 28-year-old who makes a lot of money until I was let go. But he gets stabbed just out of fucking nowhere. He gets stabbed.
Brutal life right there.
Like he's on the street, gets stabbed. And my favorite moment of the first episode is, and it's out of context, which is how I want to take it. I want to lift this and make a GIF because he's like, I can't believe I'm going to die a virgin. And as he's saying these things in his head, there's like a computer going off, going like, like, oh, I'm so cold, I'm dying. And it says, cold, heat resistance. Like you're gaining skills for your next life. It's pretty funny. And as he says, I can't believe I'm going to die a virgin, it cuts to this next line and next like angle. And he goes, if I ever become reborn, I'm going to be so fucking aggressive. Like, I think the translation gets a little lost there. And then he says, I'm going to fuck every girl I see. Something like that.
So are you watching it in Japanese though? Or English? All right, good. Because anyone who's watching anime needs to watch it in Japanese. Otherwise you're fucking Let's be real.
And here's the thing. Like, I have nothing against dubs, but I always watch the original first because I am a very big believer in it's like, those are voice actors, like that's a true craft, like that's a true profession. Like they put their time and effort into like crafting the emotion behind what they're saying and how they're saying it, the pausing is like, so that's very important to the storytelling, to the emotion, to how the show feels.
Right.
And the dub actors don't always go in with that same emotion. They just go with, here's the translated script, make it work with the already established animation.
I watched a really, really great rundown. I wish I could remember who on YouTube did this. They explained the difference between dub, sub, shit. And there's a large process of needing to rewrite what they wrote down in an original script to fit the animation timing, because some sentences that they say could be very short, but
that's how the Japanese do it too, though. They do it after the fact as well.
So when they do the dub, what the normal process is they need to rewrite the script, send it back to Japan, they need to approve that shit, make sure it's still on message, and that's why a lot of names remain the same, and a lot of why characters, they don't change a lot of shit. Plus, it's a lot of work.
Yeah.
But what I get from the subs more than like the actual theme of the story and what they're really trying to say is when I read anything, I get it better, because like reading a book, we were talking about this before. Yeah. So when I'm reading the show, I know it takes my eyes off of what's happening on screen, but that's not incredibly important. But as things are happening, reinforced with sound, reinforced with this stuff, I understand the show 30 times faster because I'm reading it.
Yep.
Like, I like the sub because, one, bring it back to like, anime and animations for kids. Anytime they usually dub something, especially if it's something that will be seen or aired in the United States, they will cut out all the adult stuff, all the swearing, all the sexual innuendo, all the blood. So if you watch the original Japanese, they have all that stuff included. And I don't like censorship. I'm a huge fan against it. Yeah. And also, like, just talking about like how they deliver it, I feel like the Japanese actors do a better job. Mm-hmm. And recently, because of Castlevania, I was reading up about it. Like, I thought it was interesting that Japanese will draw they will do the voice, like they draw the animation without any of the dialogue. And they're like, oh, this part seems like this would be a good spot for dialogue, and they do all the the animation, and then like they come in and they will make whatever dialogue that comes in after the fact. Mm-hmm. So that's why, like, even in dubbed or Japanese, the mouth movements will be off because no one knows what they're really gonna say. Right. So I thought that was so like unique, and like that was one of the troubles that they had during Castlevania, doing like a United States and a Japanese animation studio, sort of like coalition, was that like they were not used to, like they were like own their own different styles, and they're like, wait, it's like, you do what now? Like,
and on the lines really quick, one more, because it pertains a lot to the American side of anime. When people have a big argument over what's over anime is the style, it's the aesthetic. It's not necessarily has to come from Japan. I think mostly it's an aesthetic. But the show Fooly Cooly, FLCL, that one,
I heard that was coming back, or it did come back.
It has come back. It's got like a second season now. It's on its third. It originally aired when the Tom Green Show was a thing, and I know that because I caught it when it was like
on Adult Swim too.
It was on Adult Swim, and I caught it on like MTV2 at night when I was summertime, and I was watching
Flux was a great one on MTV2.
Eon Flux.
I remember that movie. Yeah.
No, not the movie. That was shit. The animation.
Never saw the anime. No.
But Brilliant. The reason why I like that one so much is because as a kid, it had some sexual innuendos and stuff like that. And as a teenage boy, who doesn't love a little sexual innuendo? But like, so it spoke to my puberty quite well. But also it was saying a lot of complex shit with cool animations, a great fucking soundtrack. And the story had, the theme of the story is characters trying to force kids to grow up. And like,
oh, that's my favorite type of story.
Yeah, and then the second season came out. What was it? 12 years later, I think it was last year, because there was only 6 episodes, And when the next one came out, it was basically an alternate reality of the first one, FLCL Progressive, and it covers a lot of the same stuff, the music. I think the Pillows is a Japanese band, does the music for that. Fucking phenomenal soundtrack. Okay. If you just check anything out, the FLCL soundtrack, great shit. But they do a lot of that same stuff, the forcing of growing up, but it's a lot more metaphorical. And it's just like, when I watch it, if I'm not high, I'm still like, what the? This is fucking amazing.
It's a pretty trippy show.
My plan is to rewatch the first season completely high and just.
See, I'm not as keen on anime as you guys. Like, I like anime. Like, I enjoy it. Like, there are animes that I've watched. Like, well, there's 2 that I just recently like one that I'm revisiting and one that I'm like just starting. The one I'm revisiting is Gundam Wing.
All right,
nice.
Like I forgot how much I love those. And then I just started Attack on Titan.
Dude,
that's a good one.
I've always heard nonstop good things. I know there's a huge following for it, and it was one of my coworkers. He was just like, "Yo, so you know what I just checked out?
Yeah, that one's not for kids."
Yeah, he's like Attack on Titan. He's
Dude,
like, you need to check that shit out if you haven't.
The visuals of that first episode.
Dude, seriously, I'm 2 episodes in.
Yeah,
shit got real just fast.
Giants eating people. I was like, dear God, what is this?
They don't
also, I thought
out.
it was like a deep metaphor about like humans as well, because like the monsters were pretty much just giant humans, and it was just like, hear the monster, and you just see like this face of like a human come into frame, and it's just like, I mean, we're monsters of ourselves, and
that's
like it was, but like the whole animation is phenomenal.
Yeah,
No, that's not anime. That's just like animated cartoon. Avatar: The Last Airbender.
People say that it has like an anime.
I'd call it the aesthetic.
That
animation is the best Western animations. Like the animation is quality. Like it's so fluid. Like that's a phenomenal job for Western. Like that's the only thing we can
cartoons,
like.
Western animated cartoons. That's more my forte than anime, because like. The Justice League, Young Justice, that just came back, which is awesome. X-Men, Spider-Man, Batman, like all those from the 90s, like that. Those 3 specifically, that was my religion as a kid. Like Fox Kids right after school at 3:30, like boom.
So you watching anything currently though? Like are those all past shows?
Currently. Currently I'm not. I don't.
No animations.
It's
Spider-Man movie.
Seen Spider-Man movie, which is awesome. But like animation wise, like what I'm currently watching, it's Endless Waltz and Attack on Titan. That's the only 2 I've gotten time. But you know what? A new show I just started on Sci-Fi that I'm already in love with. It's only like 2 episodes in. Deadly Class. It's based off a comic. I've never read the comic, but everything I've heard from it is just like it's very true to the comic. Like what they're doing with the show, they're like it's almost ripped from the panels. Like it's really good. Like these are the characters, and it's just I'm in already. It's like 2 episodes in. It's basically it's a school, like teenagers, high school, but they're all assassins. They're all killers.
Nice.
Well, there's animation. There's anime out there. That's exactly.
That's Assassin High School.
Yeah, Assassin High School.
So like it's called Deadly Class. It's on Sci-Fi. Like. And it's because the main character, like he's like that kid the show is smart because it's like, well, it's a high school show, but it's like, but here's the kicker. They're all killers and anyone can kill each other. Like they're crazy motherfuckers. But like the main character, he's just like, one of the teachers come up to him and at one point they say to her, they're like, you have what we try to nurture here. He's like, that's what people are going to try and kill you for. Which is just meaning like he just sees things for what they are. He's like, there's like this KGB guy. There's this cartel guy. There's the Yakuza cliques. Like there's cliques, just like in high schools. And he's like picking it up, recognizing it right away. He's like, all right, here's the jocks. Here's the preps. Okay, here's the outcast. He's like, oh, okay, I'm with the outcast because I don't have, like, I'm just an orphan that killed some people, blah, 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 and they found me, like, I don't have an affiliation or family. That's cool. Like, but he's so smart, like, where he's real, like, because these cartel guys will come up to him, he's like, oh, no, I'm going to fucking kill you tonight. You're talking to my girl, like, and it feels real. It's like, oh, dude, this guy's going to fucking kill him. Right. And, like, he just sees it right away.
Yeah, he already saw through it. He already knows he's going to come and do it.
He's like, you're all talk, bro. He's like, you're bullshit. He's like, you know why? He's like, because you have a rep. You have a family. He's like, you got shit to prove to people. You got shit to lose. He's like, you know what I got to lose? Fucking nothing. He's like, I'm an orphan. He's like, I have no one. He's like, I was living on the street before this. Go ahead. Try and kill me. You're not going to do shit. Like, he just sees things. Like, that caught me where I was like, I like this. I like this character. Like, he's just, boom. He's no bullshit.
Yeah.
That's the current one I'm on right now.
Sunday is, I guess, what I designated as my anime day. So Sunday, I guess, is when I catch up with all my anime shows.
Okay.
I watch a lot of anime. I guess not a lot of anime, but enough that I need a day to like sort of. I take lunch and then watch, I'm gonna say maybe 2 hours worth of anime. But like what I'm currently watching is One Piece.
Nice. That's a long one.
Yeah, Boruto, because I can't get enough of the Naruto ninjas. I love ninjas. Ninjas is, I guess, anyone asks me is like who's my
so ninjas versus pirates. You're always a ninja.
Well, I love pirates too, but like I don't know, ninjas. I thought were cool, but I liked pirates first, which is funny. But like ninjas, I can't get enough of, so I'm just like, all right, ninjas, I'm down with that. Yeah. And then Goblin Slayer.
Okay.
And then it's like One Piece, Boruto, and Goblin Slayer. I guess what I'm watching now.
Right.
Yeah, and Netflix has come out with some really good stuff. Castlevania, which was phenomenal. The Godzilla series, which was great. 13, which was another phenomenal series, and then Devil Crybaby was like a mind fuck and like very deep in of itself. So like, yeah, I got like all those. I definitely would recommend. We'll put in the show notes.
Got a good spread.
Let me ask you this: like with all these animes and all these shows, especially with like dedicating a day to where it's like this is my anime day where I'm watching it. Is it an escape? Is it an inspiration time? Or is it like I'm just letting loose and I'm watching what I enjoy? Or like
a little bit of both. I mean, I'm a huge fan of stories. As a kid, I had the fortune of my dad always reading to us, me and my brother, and sometimes he would even create his own stories. Like my favorite story on the fly, because one of my first loves was pirates, and my dad used to make up stories about Blackbeard. So every night, me and my brother would be like, "Oh, we're gonna hear a new story about Blackbeard. This is gonna be great." And so I always loved stories, and anime has some great stories, and they're very creative, and also just like my artistic sense to it. I'm watching a moving art frame pretty much the whole time I'm watching it, and some of these people, well, especially Japanese, like in general, that whole animation over there is miles beyond what we do here in the United States. I mean, it's just beautiful. A lot of frames are gorgeous. Now, they do have the work under budget. So, I mean, some of the anime movies are a lot more beautiful. But, I mean, regardless of how you look at it, it's a piece of art. And then also, I like action and like blood and gore and just like crazy action and like swearing and like, just like when I watch something, I don't want to feel like I'm like watching like a kid stuff. So I like anime tends to be more like adult oriented. And just badass in general, and like there's so many fight scenes in anime that you're just like, holy shit, this is fucking crazy.
You know what else I've experienced that with, where it's like, oh, this is adult, this is cool. Everything DC animated.
DC has some really phenomenal stuff.
DC animated nails it, where it's just like, oh, it's an homage to the comics, oh, it's superheroes. But then it's just like, no, it's gritty though. Like, people are gonna die. People are gonna like break some bones. People are gonna.
That's why I like the Batman stuff so much.
It's so good. Like I have all of them. I constantly revisit them. Like when I'm just like want to put something on, like just fill the void. It's always DC animated because it's like
and some of those are on Netflix. So check them out.
On Netflix or they got an app now, the DC Universe.
Oh, that's right.
So it's like all on there.
So there's one other thing when I talk about anime, I made a joke about weebs. If anyone's a fucking weeb, it's me.
All right, hold on. What is that?
Yeah,
sorry. A weeb is someone who watches a lot of anime.
Right.
Okay.
Very simple. It's usually a derogatory term. So like fucking weeb. So yeah, if anyone's, that's me. When I like to talk about anime, I like to talk about Japanese culture, and there was one anime in particular. It's called Hunter x Hunter.
Oh, I can't wait for that to come back.
Oh yeah, they're not done. I didn't even know that.
Well,
oh fuck.
The artist is sick, so like the new episodes have not been coming out because of health reasons, and that's one show that I really want. I mean, talk about some awesome fight scene storylines.
Yeah. Very. I can run a.
Where are you currently?
I finished it.
All right, so you saw the Chimera arc.
Yes. Yeah, that's
That
where I was
arc
going to
was
talk about too. I
insane.
guess really briefly, because there's a lot there. It's a kid who turns out to be very powerful. That's the same fucking anime stuff. Children who but like I think there's a lot to it. And he goes through a test to be licensed as a hunter, and hunters go around either hunting artifacts or hunting bad people or hunting hunters.
Contracts.
Yeah, it's a very broad term, and in that specific arc, there's an arc is the last arc I think so far, where there's these creatures who are genetically eat something and you gain the powers of it and you make things, and it almost makes a new race. It does make a new race of people, but during that arc, there's something about Japanese culture that really popped into my head, and why I think about this when I watch anything Japanese now, because there's this the bad guy from that one, the king. He's fighting the humans, the hunters' top dog, and
that fight was
very good. It's an old guy who's like, he's got the stretchy,
very
he's got
Kill Bill.
Yeah, it's very Kill Bill, and he's got like this wonderful attack where it's this giant thing, and he loses the fight. Spoilers, but it's in a very interesting way. And I guess I should have said spoilers before, because he ends up. Are you this far?
Oh yeah.
Okay, good.
There's one arc or season right after this.
Yeah. Okay. Maybe I need to catch up on it because it's great. Well, okay. So they describe. I guess I won't spoil it. They describe a bomb that they used to use in the old days. And it was called the Rose Bomb, I think.
Okay, yeah.
The Rose Bomb. I could be wrong about that.
Bowl?
The Rose Bowl, the famous Rose Bowl, and it was a big bomb that they used in olden times, which kind of shaped the world. And when it exploded, it flourished into a giant
mushroom cloud
shaped like a rose. Yeah. And that's where it fucking clicked to me, because you consider what happened to Japan. This is the only country that's ever been nuked intentionally and as a fucking means of military, not like testing or anything like that. And it shook the fucking world, and it shaped so much of everything globally. But Japan and specifics, you got to imagine, because they're still feeling the effects of that.
Oh God,
stuff,
yeah, generations later, easily.
And I feel like I watched something really. Someone said it really well, and I can't remember who said it. It's like after that happened, Japan went almost through a modern period of time. Modern, in America, you'd call it like the atomic family, and then it feels like they rushed through that atomic family. That's little bleak. And then they almost immediately went postmodern, which is why it's like hyper capitalistic, advertisements everywhere, weird things, mascots running around, vendors with used panties in them. Like, what the fuck is all this weird shit? And I think anime, a lot of the things that I watch, really expresses the idea that, maybe, and to get a little philosophical, but I don't fucking know. Maybe it's just they're closer to death, or there's something inherently systematic that thing changed their culture so much that I feel as an artist.
They view everything differently now.
Yeah, so
their world was changed.
It's like almost all the arcs. I can make anything about anything, really, but I feel like there's a lot of that in just about anything I watch. Doom and gloom, but what death does to a person and how you feel about stuff. Short-lived, and it blew my fucking mind.
Just the representation of power. Especially in anime, because I was reading a couple of articles about anime one day, and they did talk about the bomb and the hydrogen bomb and that shape, or when something in anime gets superpower, that gets that globe of power, and the explosions, especially when it's like supposedly supposed to be a big explosion, it resembles nukes often.
Right. Yeah.
And it's definitely interesting. And when you're talking about philosophy, I noticed on your website that you mentioned that you were a meta-modernist. And
please explain.
Yeah, what is that, and why is there so much oscillation involved in it?
See, I'll defend something that needs no defense, because I decided to use my website as a blog blog, which I took it all down because it's all nonsense. But I was in a place.
Still up.
Is it? Fuck. All right, I'll change that. You see. So I'll talk about it though.
Said, is it?
Fuck.
Well, I don't know. Maybe
But when
not
I'm
the
looking
blog,
for jobs,
but,
I don't want people to read
your
that
demo
shit.
reel. Or no, this was on your Twitter. This is your Twitter.
Oh. Okay, all right, that's good then.
He said, I'm cool with that.
Because there is like big. I wrote a big blog entry about postmodernism and meta. I tried to make sense of like the news cycle and how things immediately kind of regurgitate and eat themselves like an Ouroboros, but like trash.
With trash.
Yeah.
It's like we're
so true though.
Yeah, it's like we're in a postmodern, and that word is described in many different ways from all types of people.
Yeah.
But really, what postmodern means is that we're past the atomic family and simple structures, and you know, I'll put my own meaning to it. I feel like a lot of propaganda, media, I think has a lot of influence on how people do it, and on how people live. Not just do it. I guess do it too, but and it. I don't know. It's really hard to describe. I guess the point I was trying to make about being a meta modernist is that
you're aware of it.
I'm aware of being aware of postmodernism.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then you get to this cyclical, confusing thing, so much so that I feel like a lot of people will say it's like a backup. So we get to a point where we progress as a society, and then at some point we retract a little bit because maybe we all got too uppity. Or, you know, this happened in the 70s where we made a lot of progress forward and then we just pulled it all back, whether it was policies or
should we have done it, or were we just doing it for the sake of progress rather than like, should we be doing
and
it?
And I especially I guess I was in my blog entry that no one will ever read. I was talking about how memes have made things really hard to deal with. Because like in the 2016 election, you know, other countries, Russia was using memes to influence very niche communities. Like I'm from Wisconsin. I'm from Kenosha County, Wisconsin.
Yeah.
They influenced the election specifically there by using Facebook targeted ads that said like, Hillary, oh, what a bitch, you know, shit like that. And like,
hey man, like literally what works, and they know that.
Yeah. And so I felt like, because you could, black people get shot on the streets every day, and then Black Lives Matter. And now you have this fucking garbage retraction rhetorical of like, well, no, it's not Black Lives Matter, it's Blue Lives Matter. It's like, well, who's pitting? Who says it's black people or the cops? Like, that's not the. So like what memes kind of did is they took a really not that complex thing, but a semi-complex thing. They turned it on its head and then they pitted everyone against each other. And so being aware of the media is kind of made me feel like I was more
a meta
modernist. And
I like that. Now that I understand that. No, yeah, I get that.
I'll try and explain it better and maybe have an example, because if we were going to get into like heavy philosophy, you have to be in a fucking place. And usually, well, back then I was high a lot. So that kind of explains that too. But I don't know. It's tough to talk about because I feel like philosophy is hard to talk about in general, just because
I like talking about philosophy because
about it.
Because it's like at the end of the day, it's all opinion.
Yeah, well, that's just like your opinion, man.
It's just what you think on the matter. Like,
it's just like your opinion, man.
It's just your opinion, man. That's all I'm saying. I follow the dude's philosophy. But like Doodleosophy. Oh, I like that. But going off of like just kind of gauging like different eras of like our history, specifically with what we do, where do you think our industry is going like in the next step? Because like there's a lot of new stuff like with VR and 360 video and all this stuff. Like, do you feel that there's going to be a big shift and a big change? Like, we're no longer going to be experiencing or viewing things in this format anymore. It's now going to be in this way. Do you guys see anything going in any specific direction?
I think we're going to see less stuff on VHS.
I think that's pretty fair to say.
It
might be a resurgence, though. Who knows?
Who knows? But I
might
think
be like Pokemon
that might
cards
be disappearing. I don't know. That's a hard question because we don't know the future. I mean, all I can really
I'm not
say
saying
is
like
about
what it
motion
is.
graphics. But I think that the post production house or like big company, well, maybe not big companies, but definitely the middle to small post production houses, I think are on the decline. I think freelancing is on the rise, and with the affordability of the hardware. Because
It's
before,
been constantly getting
if you
lower
wanted
and
a good
lower
machine,
and lower.
you would have to work for a company that would provide you that machine. But now machines are becoming cheaper and cheaper. The dawn of the internet, where information and learning is becoming widespread.
Don't go to college, kids.
You don't need to go to college. When we graduated, we went to we were told, get a job, find a mentor. That joke on us at the time when we graduated, that disappeared.
Right.
And so none of us really had mentors. But fortunately, the internet swooped in and became our mentors. So we sort of came at a very
Who are your internet mentors?
fortunate time. Oh man, you lost my track now.
Because there's so many.
But shit, what was I saying?
Where
Just
we're
the future
headed.
of where we're going.
I think that all that is dying because all the stuff is becoming readily available, and freelancers don't have the overhead that a post-production house would need, and so now it's also cheaper to hire the freelancer.
Yep.
And now you also just whip up Instagram or the internet or Twitter, and you have like a catalog of who's the hot designers or who can do stuff, and it's like you throw something, he can do that, let me reach out to him, and boom, and it'll probably end up being cheaper. So I mean, I see for motion graphics anyway, I see freelancing becoming more and more of a thing.
Yep.
And and then just new tools that I don't even know what will come out.
Yeah, and with YouTube, there's a large influx of people who realize that editing is a tool almost everyone should use.
Yeah.
I think honestly, anyone can do themselves a favor by editing a simple fucking video, because editing can teach you a lot of stuff, whether it's video or anything else, audio or even scripts and writing and stuff.
I feel like it teaches you planning. Or pre-production in a sense, where it's like.
So what were you saying? I'm sorry.
Oh, just the mentors, like online mentors, because that's a real thing. None of us had true mentorships where it was like, I'm going to latch on to this guy and he's going to teach me everything. No, it's like certainly I had people that I learned from very well, but not a very much like you are my mentor.
Yeah, no one I would consider like, my mentor told me this.
But and I genuinely feel that's a large part of because of the internet and blowing up in YouTube tutorials and stuff like that, like Grayscale Gorilla, Video Copilot, like all those guys, like they Film Riot,
Film Riot was a big one for me.
Digital,
maybe not so much. There wasn't mentors available. There probably were. I just didn't have access to them because when we graduated, also thank you Bush, the economy collapsed and no one wanted to hire anyone that didn't have an experience. And so it's just like, you need experience.
Still real today, though.
Well, but I mean a little lighter. So
it's not as
on the art industry as well.
But I couldn't have access to that mentor even if there was one because I couldn't get in.
Yep.
And so the internet filled that for me. And then, once I got more into companies, there wasn't things were moving still at a somewhat a quick pace, that style, there was there's no one mentoring me then because there was no time. You had to know what you were doing as you came in. So I really didn't have any mentors. But, I mean, Andrew Kramer, I want to say we've all
Video Copilot, man.
Video
Absolutely.
Copilot.
Every one of us.
Ryan Connolly from Film Riot. I thought he was great.
Grayscale Gorilla. Those
Nick
are
Campbell,
my two mentors. And I want to say, I mean, maybe it's because I did the inaugural year of the course at DePaul for animation. But I mean, I learned more about my craft on those websites than I did at school.
Oh God, yeah.
Same.
Because I constantly tell people religiously, I was like, if you want to do anything remotely close to what I'm doing, don't think about school. I was like, just go start doing it. You're gonna get better. It's gonna be shit at first. I was like, but you're gonna learn. I was like, because what I'm telling you to do right now is what my professors told me to do in school.
Right.
I was like, the only thing that gave me a little one up was I had access to equipment that I couldn't afford at the time.
That's a big reason why I went to college.
But to your point, equipment has been is on the downslope where prices just
except graphic cards.
That's different.
I just dropped $1,500 on the new graphics card. Yeah, damn, I'm happy about it. But no, it's totally worth it. Totally worth it. But wasn't happy.
It's interesting too when you talk about mentors, and we were talking about the internet. I didn't really have a mentor. I had people who I followed and stuff like that. Yeah. But the way I kind of describe it is I was more of a cooperative thing, because all of my mentors were the people who I was learning with. So whether that was you in college or whether that was my friends, I live with a musician, 2 games designers, and a web designer, and we're all still there. One of my good friends, Mike, I worked with at a place, 3D motion graphics. So I feel like the mentor for me, and is being side by side with these people. And I'm not going to inflate my ego, but it felt to me it felt like a personal renaissance to say, because it felt like we were inventing shit, and then we just happened on these things. It's like, no, you're not inventing stuff. This stuff existed. Yeah. What school gave me was a structure and the friends. So I don't regret school for friends. But
that's actually a very good point, where it's access to equipment, sure, but the network of people, the people you meet in school, that is actually very huge. And that's a common thing I hear, because there's plenty of people I follow that say, don't go to college, but they went, and they say don't go to college based on their experience. It's it wasn't worth my time. It definitely wasn't worth my money.
Right.
I could have did this on my own for free. But the one thing that they do value from going to school was I built a network of people already in my industry, because we were all like-minded, and we all but that doesn't have to be built in college. You can build that in the workplace. You can build relationships with people.
The joke that I have when I tell people about my insurmountable amount of debt is that I might have paid that, but I got the people out of it. However, the strategy would have been to move out of my house, go to a community college, and just go to the parties. Yeah. If I could have found the parties if I have any advice for anyone out there who's thinking of college and can't figure out, if you could find the creative section or the whatever you want to go into, go to those parties and meet those people. If you go to those parties and become friends with those people.
House of Five Guys parties.
Yes. I met most of my friends there, and they're very artistic people.
It was called the House of Five Guys. It was 5 guys that all went to our school. Or no, Tuttle didn't go to our school, did he?
Not immediately. I think he did eventually.
I think he did eventually. But it was 5 guys, all from Rockford, went to high school together, good buddies. Yep. Good buddies of ours now. And
mostly filmmakers.
One's 3D, one's a filmmaker, one's audio.
And web design.
Web, and then Tuttle. What did he go for? Design?
He went for design, I think.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, but
That's
it was just like literally
cool.
It was like a creative house, man.
And the like parties we had
parties are fun,
were all
because
the
we were all weird,
school.
goofy nerds that were just like
Halloween parties were the best parties because everyone
just cool.
we had a lot of friends in fashion too. So
fashion
basically
makers.
cosplayers would show up and actually Cassie, who was a cosplayer, she went to those parties too. It was great. It was a wonderful environment.
I remember helping Mike make his Iron Man costume.
Yeah. It's great shit. So you get a lot from college on, I think, a networking level and a structure stuff, but you can learn a lot of the stuff online.
You can work around that, like the studio we go to. That's a great way to network and meet people. You know, like school isn't the only.
Well, also depends on like what you're doing.
Yeah.
I mean, if you want to do motion graphics, go to the motion graphic meetups here in Chicago. They have one.
CMAG.
Yeah, CMAG.
Chicago Motion Artist Group.
Yeah. My buddy Brad. He helped create that, and then he also runs Loose Keys, and he's a super cool guy.
Love Loose Keys.
He's been around in the industry, so definitely he's a welcoming guy, and like anyone like could come to these events and meet new people and just hang out and drink a beer. I mean, some of these events, I think I
got to make my way out to more of those.
Are very important, especially if you're new and you need to get yourself out there, and just meet these people. It's great to have.
Totally valuable. And I think that's
contacts.
Not
it's all
just
about
here.
Yeah, we should all go. We should all go to the next one.
Sure. Yeah.
No reason we shouldn't.
Yeah. Well, the thing is happens sometimes on Wednesdays, which is the art night. So
that's right. That's right. Well, we can miss one art night.
Yeah, it's true. It's
just one out of the month because they do it every month, right?
Yeah, and then the Cinema 4D one is.
That's the one I went to.
Yeah, I want to say either both of those happen in the same month. Just a week separate, or they switch on and off. I can't remember. The last one I went to was the Chicago one in December. They had it at Whirly Ball, which was sort of like the end of the year event, which was a ton of fun. Because who doesn't like to play Whirly Ball and just with a bunch of like same people that you know. So definitely, I urge you, anyone listening, and you guys too, get your ass out here and meet some cool people and drink some beers.
Yeah,
no, definitely. But we are definitely getting close to that time. Instead of wrapping up with a crazy story, because that would be one story for each of us, I wanted to broach the topic of, because we talked about it quite a bit, is freelancing, and you say it's on the uprise, which I wholeheartedly agree with. How do you feel about, because I had a few friends ask me this, like, what do you guys think about websites like 99 Designs or like the freelancer sites where it's like, 50 designers are going to make something for you, and then you're gonna pick which one you like. And then
I think that's garbage.
I don't like that.
Yeah,
I don't like the idea of 50 designers trying to please me, and then only one of them gets paid. Because if you're a designer or an artist,
but that's like a real thing. Like, there's multiple.
You're doing something, you need to get paid for it.
Absolutely.
Don't get taken advantage of, because the first rule of negotiation is ask, and they're always going to ask you, "Hey, do you want to do this for free?" I mean, it's a business. If you're willing to say yes, they'll be like, sweet. I'm going to ask the other 50 guys the same question.
I think there's only one time when you should be doing it for free, though. It's when it's. Depends. I think the only time you should work for free
exceptions to the rule
is working close to the sun. Like working close to someone that like you exactly want to be, or someone that you want to emulate. Like, this guy's crushing it. I want this guy's job. Like I want to work
like an apprentice.
Exactly, an apprenticeship. Like I feel like that's the only
you're getting
time.
Paid.
Exactly, because you stick around them long enough, you're not getting paid, but all the work you do, that's recognition. They're going to see you as a hard worker. They're going to see you as someone who's dedicated.
But I wouldn't say do that for a long period of time.
No. But I'm saying, like, in my head, that's the only time where it's okay. But otherwise,
like charity. I don't mind like a good charity too.
Definitely.
But those are some rare instances, like I said. But for the most part, don't work for free. Artists get paid.
I did some free work, and it turns out I was with some people who recognized my work, saw its worth, and it yielded good results. If you are working for free in the hopes of that, but you're getting treated like shit, I would say it's probably not the best trade-off. But that's case by case basis.
Yeah, no, exactly.
When someone wants something, if you got 50 people lined up in front of you and you say do a thing, like if you're mocking something up, that's your time and that's valuable.
Yep.
I've had plenty of jobs where it's just like, I want to see if you're what works for me, freelance stuff, and I'll just mock something up in a short amount of time. And I've had some people say I don't like it. I have some people say I like this. I got paid both ways. Yeah. You paid for my time to test to see if I was good for you. You should get paid.
Yeah, for my thoughts. Absolutely. You're paying money for my thoughts, like my time,
right?
Pretty much.
You got to know your worth. You got to know your value. You got to know what your time is worth, because there's plenty of stuff like we can easily put in our heads. Like, I can make that quick.
That's a hard subject too. It's like, what are you worth?
Yeah,
that's subjected to everyone. Like the way because the way I scale my worth in relation to like asking for salary for different jobs, it's just, okay, what's been my experience seeing other people do the job they're asking me to do? How do I compare to them? And when I compare myself to them, it's mainly on two things. It's speed and execution. Because it's like, how fast do I work in comparison to them? And what's my end result look like compared to theirs? Because at the end of the day, those are the only two things that really matter to any client.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
That's all they care about. They don't care about your process. They don't care about, I sourced and found this quote to inspire and feel the aesthetic that you're going for.
Right.
So it's super deep and meta. They're like, I don't care. They're like, yeah, but you spent 3 days doing that. Like, it doesn't matter to them. Like, they don't care about that shit. Speed and end result. So like I feel like when you're trying to gauge your value for what you are worth, what your time is worth, that's how I've done it. Do you guys have any other way of doing it?
I pretty much
You summed it up pretty well, I'd say. Yeah.
Speed and execution is what they matter, and that's at the end of the day.
One of the best freelance gigs I had. I talked a guy out of doing something because it was too expensive, and frankly,
this isn't worth it for you. Then.
Frankly, I could do it. I got a month, but it's not going to look good, and it's not within my skill set, and I'm the only one working on this. So I talked him out of doing something, and later on he was extremely grateful because basically what I told him was, we can get you, you want a good product, this is a good product. You want a bad product and spend more, then let's do it this way. Yeah. I saved him money, and he was grateful, so much so he sent me a bonus.
That's a sign of a good motion graphic designer. Someone's looking out for the client.
Yeah,
right.
You can gauge.
And a little design sense too, because you recognized, hey, there's a better option, and from my expertise, this is what I'm suggesting.
Right.
And like you said, like luckily the client was like, you know what, I'm going to trust you. But there's definitely times where we've gotten being like, no, this is how we'll want to do it. And it's just all right because they're paying for it.
They had the budget and I had the time, but within all of the kind of balls up in the air, I just kind of laid it out on the table, and like I could have extracted more money out of the guy for sure, but because I told him this, and because maybe I was jinxing myself out of a few extra bucks, he sent me a bonus check for $300-$400, and I was like, so I didn't, that's a good client too.
That's nice.
So it's going to be rare to get that, but because he had the budget and because we
that's not normal, folks.
That's not normal. I was, like I said, best freelance gig I had. And I needed that shit too.
No, like kind of what you're talking about, like it taking time and knowing like this is going to take this amount of time, but I can make you a shorter version. It'll look like this. There's a video I always reference back to anytime like a client is just like, yeah, I need this and this and this, but here's the date that it's due. This turnaround's like 3 days. And it's like, oh, I need this and this and this, or the week is here, or it's by the end of the week. And I always reference a video where it's just someone drawing a sketch, but it's the same sketch 3 times in a row. One, it's done in like 5 minutes. One, it's done in 1 minute, and one, it's done in like 30 seconds. And it's just like, what version do you want? Here's the low price tier. Here's the middle price tier. Here's the high price tier. He's like, you want anything good? It's going to take time, which equals money to you.
Right.
So like that to me is like the simplest way of putting it to like clients, and people are just like, that's the equation. That's how it works out for the most part.
Absolutely. Couldn't agree more.
Yeah. All right. Well, then I think we're all good for today.
That was Odd Owls.
Yeah. Odd Owls
Parliament.
Yeah, the Odd Owls Parliament episode.
Yeah.
There you go. We covered quite a bit there.
Good job, guys.
Yeah.
Covered a lot of ground.
Anime too.
Which I wasn't expecting.
Yeah, me neither, but I dug
love
it. All right, cool. We're out, guys. Justice.
Oh, hey, just wrapping a cord. Just, thanks for watching, and, like, comment, subscribe, check us out, where do I put this?